Hi! Today I want to show you how I make my pizza dough. And before I start doing that, I would like to give you the advice to grab a pizza stone because it's gonna really help you in the cooking process. You want to turn your oven on at 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you put your pizza stone inside. So when you're gonna go and cook your pizza, is actually going to be nice and hot, and you're gonna have a very nice crust and very well cooked on the bottom. So I'm gonna put this one in the oven. And the level that I am using for where I place the pizza stone is actually 2 levels underneath the broil, basically. Okay, now we can start with the pizza dough. I already measured the flour, and I'm gonna put it in a bowl. And here I am using a bread flour because it has a high level of a high content of gluten, and the gluten is the one that's gonna give you like the elasticity while you're working it, and it's gonna give it like a nice chewiness when you actually go and bite the pizza. Add the flour. I'm gonna add some salt, and I'm going very generously here. I'm gonna put like 3 teaspoons of salt. And then I'm gonna start to mix it right away. You don't want that the salt and the yeast meet together. So like I never would put like the yeast right away in the flour, because the salt, it can create like a chemical reaction, and then it would kind of you run the risk of not having a good dough that is like proofed and raised. Okay, I think I'm done with this one. Then I'm gonna grab my water, and the water has to be the 70% of your flour weight. On the description box, you're gonna find the PDF with all the measurements and all the descriptions, all the things, all the passages that you need to do. And usually the rule of thumb is 70% of the weight of the flour is basically your water. So after I grab the water, I am gonna add about a whole tablespoon of honey. And if you don't have honey, you can use regular sugar, agave syrup, maple syrup, anything. The honey or the sugar basically is gonna help your dough to actually proof nicely. So it's like almost like a boost for your dough. So the honey, like the sugar, feed basically the yeast, and that's what creates carbon dioxide, and so it helps a lot like with the proofing and the raising of your dough. Okay, after this is well mixed, I am going to grab my active dry yeast, and I'm gonna put a teaspoon inside. And I will keep mixing. Okay. Now it's time to combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients, and I'm gonna start a little bit at a time. So here I am using my hands because I like to feel the consistency and the humidity of the dough. But if you have like a standard mixer or a blender with a hook attachment, please feel free to use that one. I am gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay. And now I will make all the rest of the flour to be absorbed in the dough. Okay, now I'm gonna dump everything. I'm gonna dump everything on the board, and I will start working with both of my hands. I'm gonna clean my hands first. Okay, so now I am going to work this dough for about 5 minutes, all by hand. And if I feel that it's just a little bit sticky, I just add just a sprinkle of flour. Okay, to knead your dough, you just basically use this part of your hand and you just push it forward. Basically, you have to make internal folds, and you do it by pushing with your hand the dough. You fold it or you push it, you fold it or you push it. Okay, the dough now is ready to be portioned and ready to be proofed. So what you want is a soft, kind of soft dough, but when you push it up, it springs back, and at the touch, it has just a little bit of humidity. So at the beginning, as you were seeing, the dough was actually sticking on the board, but then while you're working it, the flour absorbs all the water, so it doesn't become sticky anymore, and even your hands become completely clean. So now I want to make like this, like a ball. As you can see, it became really smooth after working it for about 5 minutes. And I'm gonna grab my cutting tool here, and I try to make like 2 perfect size, and then I will make 2 balls. And how you do it is basically you push down, and then you roll it. And voila, it stays like this, but it's fine. You push down, and then you roll it. There you go. So now I'm gonna grab 2 bowls, and I already put some olive oil inside, and I'm gonna cover all the bottom and all the walls. If you don't have a brush, a cooking brush, you can use your hand, you can use kitchen towel, a paper towel, whatever you have, it works. The reason why you want all the walls to be nice and coated is because when the dough will raise, it will not stick to the walls, and it's gonna be easier to actually take it out. Okay. So if you notice, these are the bowls that I used at the beginning. Here you had the flour, here I start to mix the dough. And to save myself on doing a lot of dishes, I just quickly wash them and I'm just reusing them. So now we're gonna put our doughs inside. And I'm gonna grab some sealing wrap. And try to cover very well all the sides of the bowl, so no hair pass through it. Okay, now I have lights underneath my counter and underneath my cabinet, so I'm gonna leave the dough there. The most important thing is that you put the dough on a place where there is no change of temperature. So the dough is gonna be there for 2 hours, or depending where you live, until it raises and it doubles its volume. So I'm gonna see you in about 2 hours and I'm gonna show you the result. Okay, as you can see, the dough actually doubled its volume. And now I'm gonna show you how to shape it. So the first thing that we want is to get some flour on the board. It's nice and soft, and it comes out all in once. Now, with your fingers, you're just gonna start to push a little bit. From the center to the outside. You can even turn it. And then you make a half turn. And you start seeing that it's like spreading, but without actually bouncing back. You don't have to do it round. You can do it square if you want. Actually, usually square, if you have to pack lunch for your kids, is much better because you can actually cut it and you can portion it instead of just cutting like the slices. Okay, there are so many ways to actually give it a shape and like pull the dough. Somebody uses the rolling pin. Somebody actually does the slap motion, which is basically just passing the dough from one hand to another one and let this hang so it stretches it. and then you try with both hands to see if it's all even. Here it's a little bit too thick. If you want, you can even use this method. You pull your board a little bit out of the edge of your counter. You drop half of the dough so it's just hanging, and then you just basically pull, and this is stretches your dough. If you want a little bit bigger, and then if you want, you can just give a little bit of the border. There you go. Okay, when you want to give the shape to your pizza dough, I suggest you to kind of keep the shape of your pizza peel. So try to make it like big as the same space that you're gonna cover on your pizza peel. Otherwise, if it becomes like too wide, that is gonna overflow, and it's gonna be really hard then to actually lie down on the pizza stone. So you have two options. You can either season your pizza right now and then transport the pizza on the pizza peel. In my opinion, it's better if you actually put it right away. So you season it, you put all the ingredients, and then it's ready to go in the oven. But before you actually put the dough on top of here, grab a little bit of flour, sprinkle it just very slightly. Don't put too much, because otherwise the flour sticks to the dough and then it becomes very bitter, has a taste. So just move it around real nicely, like everywhere, and then brush off the excess. Then you can put your pizza on top and try to wiggle it a little bit. It has actually to wiggle, so you know that it will come out of your pizza peel. Otherwise, it's gonna happen that the dough might stick to your peel, and then it's really hard. And as you saw my pizza stone, it was kind of like burning everything. It's because all the many mistakes that I made through the years. It's a learning process, and so yeah, make sure that it wiggles, so it's actually easy then it slides off of your pizza peel. So you put it on, and then you season it, and of course you can season it in the way that you like. Here I just made some pizza sauce. And try to cover well all the area, but do not go way too much, on top of the border. There you go. And you just need a little bit. You don't need much. Then you put your cheese. Here I have mozzarella cheese, but you can use even any other cheese that you like. Or with brie, actually. It would be amazing. Okay. Try to not go overflow over the border, because otherwise the cheese is gonna melt, and then it's gonna go like down, and it's gonna overflow on top of the pizza stone, and it's gonna cook outside of your pizza, basically. pepperoni. Okay, now this one is gonna go in the oven for about 8 minutes, and I don't know if you remember, but the oven is already been turned on about like 3 hours ago, and so yeah, it should be nice and ready to be used. I will try to move the camera so you can actually see how I put the pizza inside. I am by myself, so I really hope I will be able to film everything. So I'm just gonna move the camera and then I'm gonna show you. Okay, I moved the camera, so right now I'm gonna show you how I put the pizza inside. As you can see, the pizza can still wiggle. So you basically drop it and it slides right off. Now it's gonna cook for about 8 minutes, and then I'm gonna show you the final result. Okay, this is your pizza after 8 minutes of being in the oven. It has a nice crust around. The cheese is all melted. If you want, you can actually put it under the broil for about 2 minutes, I would say. But on low, because if you put it on high, you would actually burn everything because it was way too strong. So yeah, this is my final result, and now I actually want to cut it and show it to you. Okay, sorry, I had to stop the video because the kids came home, and as you can see, they saw the pizza, they want some. So I just want to show you how the inner layer should be. As you can see here, the bottom is nice and crunchy, and the middle layer is actually nice and raised with all the pockets of hair. Usually sometimes in some pizzas you actually see a dense dough here, and there is like no pockets, no space. This is what you actually want, see? All these. You can eat the pizza, of course, right away, or if you want, you can actually freeze it, and it can stay in your freezer up to 3 months. This was my version of how I make my pizza. You make it and let me know how it turns out, and if you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll be more than happy to answer to your comments. Thank you. Bye bye.